Come in, gather round, pour a cup of tea, and have a seat. Welcome to Cal's Corner. My name is Cal, and here in my corner, we're going to cover news and opinions, thoughts and discussion, and anything else that happens to cross my mind. Today, I thought I would have a little fun and abuse my Gamepass subscription. December of 2019 was the most I had played Xbox since I made my account almost 10 years ago. It's insane how much Gamepass has done to push my desire to play games. Gamepass is making me play more and check out games I missed or even revisit ones I haven't played in a long time. So I thought I would have a little fun and keep track of the games I play each month, how much I saved, and how good the games were. And to make it interesting, I thought I would put them on a tier list. The tiers go from never again, a game ranking anywhere from 1 to 5, so uninteresting or offensively bad, I have no desire to ever revisit it again. 1 and done, a game ranking from 5 to 7 that is either below expectations or leaves me mostly indifferent. Would play again, a game ranking from 7 to 8, an enjoyable experience that I could see myself revisiting at some point, but maybe not right away. Must play, a game ranking from 8 to 9 that I feel those with a similar interest to me should absolutely check out. And GOAT, a game ranking from 9 to 10, potential game of the years and journeys to be remembered forever. In January, I played 3 games and 1 major DLC release. They were Tekken 7, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Halo Master Chief Collection, including Halo Reach and Halo 3 ODST. I also tried out the Joker in Mortal Kombat 11, and seeing as I spent more time playing him in the training room towers and online, I feel that it's more than enough to be rated all the same. In fact, I put a lot more time into the Joker than any of the Halo campaigns, so I'd say it's ample content to be reviewed. Also, since for the most part they are just ports, I'll be rating each campaign from each game in the Master Chief Collection as their own game, excluding Combat Evolved as I played that in December. And at the end, we will do a breakdown of how much money I saved with Game Pass and a golf-style score for my month. I want to do this every month for 2020 and really show people just how helpful Game Pass can be and take a look at some games with a new perspective years after release. The point of this is to see where the games ended up. I have a feeling looking back at the end of the year and seeing which month saved me the most money or had the highest median rating of games will be really fun. So without further ado, let's hop into the first item on the list.
Your girl Frost is quite the filly.
She became dead to me long ago.
Soon she'll be dead to me too.
Boy, was this fun. I was chatting with my friend Nick several years ago about the idea of a DC character stepping into the Mortal Kombat universe after we'd seen so many MK characters appear in Injustice 1 and 2. We both agreed that Joker would be a good fit, although personally I would love to see a wildly evil dictator Superman get torn to shreds. There was a lot of worry about how the Joker would play. In the case of the MK characters in Injustice, they were mostly identical with a few new additions, and we even saw this a little bit with Terminator and Sindel borrowing movesets from other characters in the past. However, they went above and beyond with the Mortal Kombat Joker and made him his own distinct form of the character. He animates so well and still maintains that trappy trickster at the core of his previous designs, but with so much new flair. He really is a joy to play and definitely one of my favorite characters in MK11. The only thing holding him back is the same stuff holding Mortal Kombat back as a whole. The Joker feels creative, but having a short list of moves and being limited to 2 or 3 extra moves for the variation does make him wear off a bit faster than I would like. Overall, a lot of fun, but not something everybody needs to play. I'd happily play him again though. Let me be transparent here. I did not play the campaign of Tekken 7. I've seen a couple playthroughs and I know that it's just okay. It had some really cool moments, but the appeal of this game for me was not to experience the story, it was jumping online and seeing how wild this game can get. And boy, does it get wild. The game is the greatest mixture of the most frustrating and wonderful experience I've had in a fighting game in a long while. There is so much to learn all the time, and every matchup feels totally fresh. The game doesn't do the greatest job of teaching the player much, but after playing the game for a long while, I find that I don't think it really has to. I was really soured on that point, but I found that the game animates so well that you can very easily teach yourself what to do, once you have a decent understanding of what your character does. Once you get into the game and you can basically experiment as much as you want, trying to find punish windows and combo opportunities, and it feels that much more rewarding because of it. There's a sharp learning curve to be certain, but I think that's a good thing in the long run. And while the netcode isn't incredible and very frustrating at times, I still find playing online loads of fun. It's easy to see why so many people continue to play this game almost 5 years later, and it has consistent entry rates at EVO and other high-level tournaments. Easily a must-play for a long-time fighting game player. Over 6 years later, this game continues to top best-selling charts. It even outsold Red Dead Redemption 2 in 2019, just a year after its big release. But why do people continue to buy and play GTA 5? A big reason is its ever-growing multiplayer. It's good brainless fun and so easy to dive deep into. Tons upon tons of content have been shot into this game over the last 6.5 years, and it has more than fully recovered from its initial rocky start. But at this point, it feels like the other half of the game has been almost all but forgotten. Nobody really talks about the story of GTA 5 anymore, and I wanted to know why. I loved playing Vice City and San Andreas many years ago, and I still think those stories hold up very well. GTA 4 is no slouch either, so I sat down with the campaign and finally played it for myself. And after finishing it, it's okay. I'm not the biggest fan of the characters this time around. Trevor is kind of dependent on whether or not you find his humor funny, and I just simply didn't. He became very grating for me, and I never really liked him. Franklin and Michael almost just feel like weaker interpretations of older Rockstar characters. Franklin is kind of a less interesting CJ, Lamar feels like Ryder 2.0. Michael is probably my favorite character, but I still feel like he's a more depressed version of Tommy Vercetti from Vice City. I don't think GTA 5's story is at the same level as those classics and revered GTA titles, but it's totally serviceable. It never really hits with a mega twist, and there never seems to be a major bad guy to overcome. The characters kind of go about their lives, and then it's over. Any opposition that comes up is dealt with in a few missions, and they move on to the next big bad. It's not horrible, but it's not really something that ever pulled me a particular way. If I was ranking the story alone, it would probably be a one and done, but given that the multiplayer is so insane, it could be totally life-absorbing, it has to go as a must-play. I played the Halo Master Chief Collection split screen with my girlfriend, and it was a lot of fun. Both of us growing up playing a lot of Halo, there was a lot of nostalgia going into this, and as much as I would love to talk about Combat Evolved for hours, seeing as it is a certified GOAT in my opinion, we're gonna have to skip over that one today and start here with Halo 2. Amazing score. Awesome environments, smooth combat. This game has it all. The first half of the game is stellar, and I would go as far as to say it may be peak Halo. Most of the Master Chief's missions and the first few Arbiter missions were really firing on all cylinders. After the halfway point, I did find a lot of those missions more of a slog to get through, and the ending felt weak even with my ability to quickly jump over to Halo 3 today. This was the remastered version, but more often than not we were playing on the original graphics. The game looked amazing remastered, to be sure, but the frame rate and performance would often dip even on Xbox One X. I prefer an overall smooth performance over a pretty one, so I would play on original graphics, which of course have aged, but not so much so that I would call the game ugly by any means. Given it's been about 15 years since the game was made, I'd say it holds up very well visually. The biggest selling point of Halo 2 had to have been the multiplayer, and you could easily spend hours upon hours enjoying the expertly designed maps and weapons, and even if you do get bored somehow, I'm certain you can come up with a game mode built for you. It's really nice to look back on these influential titles now. You can see the influence of Combat Evolved and Halo 2 absolutely everywhere, and they genuinely revolutionized the way we play first-person shooters. A genuine must-play for any shooter fan. So Halo 3 was a bit of a mixed bag. On one hand, it does a lot to improve on Halo 2, adding more vehicles, more weapons, new equipment, and grenades. Forge is incredible and makes multiplayer as a whole more malleable and fit for everyone. The biggest letdown for me was the story. I always found the campaign more boring than the other games, to the point where I could never finish it for years, which is funny given that this time playing it with my girlfriend, we beat it in one sitting. It was definitely the shortest of the series for us. You'd think with the shorter campaign it would fly by, but we found the pacing to be very slow pretty much the whole way through. The game has you constantly slowed to a crawl by Cortana or the Gravemind talking to you, forcing your characters to move at a walking pace. It was super distracting, and the whole campaign would improve if they found a way to do it without disrupting the flow of the game. Even without that though, we still found the campaign hard to finish, and both of us were left pretty underwhelmed by the ordeal. A lot of the game is fighting through bullet sponge enemies and defending locations for a long while. Luckily, with an incredible multiplayer and campaign having split screen and online options, I would still say I'm happy with the overall package, and although I wouldn't go out of my way to play it every day anymore, I would happily play it again. Wow, just wow. This game is so good. So good. Maybe it was seen as even better playing it immediately following Halo 3's campaign, but this game absolutely blew me away. I have a lot of personal connections with ODST. I still have my 360 copy on my shelf that my dad bought me all the way back in 2010. My parents were divorced, so my dad kept the copy with him, and I couldn't play it till the next weekend. The anticipation was insurmountable, so I, like many did in the early 2010s, looked to YouTube to see what the game was like, and I came across one YouTuber, SSOHPKC. Seamus has been my favorite YouTube personality ever since, and I miss him a lot, and I hope he's doing well. ODST basically opened me up to the world of YouTube, and now because of it, I'm sitting at a computer working on this video. Given all of that, I hadn't played it in many years, and my girlfriend had only played a little bit. The somber tone is palpable. The music strikes my heart. The gritty darkness of the streets of New Mombasa are depressing, and the rookie has a tall hill to climb. Luckily, he has one of the coolest looking guns in the franchise to do it. I love the tactical SMG. It is one of my top 5 favorite weapons, and I think it's the coolest cover art weapon. It was so nice to not be Superman this time around. Every enemy feels giant and monstrous, and the whole series benefits from this new perspective shown in ODST. For my money, the New Mombasa Police Department level is the best level in the franchise. It is such a joy to play through, going floor to floor with Buck, and finally ending off with a final stand against the Covenant invasion. Rockets, chain guns, shotguns, explosions. This level is incredibly fun, and doing it with a whole squad of likable and fun characters, plus my girlfriend, is the most fun experience I've ever had with Halo. 343! Microsoft, wake up, please! Make engineer plushies, make dolls, make something. My girlfriend wants her own Virgil so bad, and when I looked online, I couldn't find anything official. It blows my mind they wouldn't have already made something for what might be the cutest creation in the Halo universe. This game is a joyous ride from beginning to end, and easily my most recommended game I played in January. A certified GOAT.
This is Sierra 259. You got Spartans on the ground, sir. We're not going anywhere.
I feel like Reach has gotten a bit of a bad rap over the years. The story is a bit hit or miss for some, that's to be sure, and there were many that saw it as a start of the separation between classic and modern Halo, but I don't personally subscribe to that idea. I think the story is fun and enjoyable, and the last few missions really stick with me. I don't think I'll ever forget Lone Wolf, and for me, it's the best ending for any of the games of the franchise. I think the road to get there is a bit rocky though. I think the game has a lot of fun missions, but also a lot of average missions that aren't so memorable. The pace definitely feels a bit slower than I would like, and while it's sad, it doesn't get quite as somber and sad as the lows of ODST. Playing it again for the first time in many years, I didn't even remember the Saber missions at all, and were definitely a low point for my girlfriend and I. I didn't particularly enjoy the way they controlled. The Noble team is mostly just okay. I like George, and he's probably the one I got the most attached to, but he's gone so early that none of the losses ever hit me quite as hard as they might have for others. Seeing my girlfriend's face turn to absolute shock when Kat takes the needle to the head did feel pretty cool though. I did love the elites in this game. Tons of cool looking designs, and each rank feeling totally unique. The Spartan abilities were really neat and added an even deeper layer to the gameplay than the equipment in Halo 3. The multiplayer could last you a lifetime, better forged and even more wacky stuff to do. And some of the new weapons that I love, like the plasma repeater, needle rifle, and DMR, just to name a few, are a ton of fun. Even if you completely skip out on the story, I'd still say Halo Reach is a must-play game. Here we are with the last game of today, Halo 4. This game is hard to talk about. It somehow has one of the most fun and most frustrating campaigns in the franchise. I really enjoy Prometheans. I know that's a real controversial statement to some, but I found them very fun to fight, and honestly felt the weakest parts of Halo 4 are the Covenant fights. The Prometheans bring some new enemy types and strategies, and their weapons are so fun to play with. The scatter shot is my favorite weapon in the franchise, and I was elated to have the opportunity to blindside an Elite and Knight as they are fighting each other with a complete disintegration. But oh man, did I find fighting the Covenant grating in this game. It's like all the improvements to diversify the elites and add more depth in Halo Reach were completely gone. It was like going back to Combat Evolved, but with none of the amazing level design or music. And boy, was the music weak. I never really put O'Donnell and Salvatore on the same pedestal as the Halo community has over the years, but after playing through Halo 4 again, I miss them dearly. The music isn't terrible, but it just doesn't have that same drive and power to it the previous titles had. There are some good songs towards the end I enjoyed, but it's never on the same level. There is a flying segment towards the end, and I actually loved this one. While I didn't care for Reach's attempt, I found Halo 4's flying segment very fun and reminiscent of Luke Skywalker flying his X-Wing through the crevices of the Death Star. It was super exciting and a definite high point for me. The worst part is the story. I'm not a Cortana fan, I'm sorry to say, and neither is my girlfriend. Neither of us have ever really grown attached to her, so her being the focal point of the story just didn't pull much emotion from us. On top of that is the abundance of characters that add nothing or are just there to push the plot. Del Rio is just angry for the sake of being angry and to push the plot the direction it needs to go. Most of the other Spartans are completely void of any personality. This has been a relatively common theme in the Halo games. You don't really need to know much about the characters, and they don't often have a ton of depth to them, but this game is especially focused on putting the story forward with lengthy cinematic cutscenes, and it mostly fell flat. The game does look pretty amazing graphically. It's genuinely hard to believe that it was released on the same console as Halo 3. The multiplayer is just okay on this one. I found the abundance of jetpacks mostly annoying when I played, and I never really had the desire to revisit it. In the end, the game does have quite a few high moments, but the lows are so low at times, it sapped any want for me to come back to it. Halo 4 was probably a one and done. So that's all the games I played in January. Halo the Master Chief Collection would run you about $25, the cheapest price I could find. ODST would run you about $5 if you find a digital code for cheap, and $10 for Reach. Cheapest price I could find for Tekken 7 was about $15 used, and for GTA 5 about $20 on Xbox One. Adding all that together, I would have spent about $75 to play all these games, not including shipping or tax. I currently use Xbox Gamepass Ultimate, which costs me about $15 a month, so I saved $60 in January playing mostly games I very much enjoyed and would definitely play again. The score for the month goes like this. Each category from top to bottom gets a 1 through 5 rating. 1 at the top, 5 at the bottom. So this month's would be 1 1, 4 2s, 2 3s, and 1 4. Then the points are used to calculate the median score, which comes out to a strong 2. We'll have to see if any future months can outperform this one in savings or median score, but as for me, that's it for this time. Join me next week for what will probably be a bit more rant-focused video. My name's Cal, and I'll see you around the corner.